will be lucky to get these grants, I believe next year, people will see from them that yes, sitting down doing nothing is not an answer, but trying to do something so that you get your answer. That is one. Two, the sponsors or the donors should please do it in such a way that it will serve as an encouragement and we get more people. And way forward, our sister countries should also come with their own product or their proposals to come and pitch just the way everybody is pitching here, so that it will give scope to every country and give equal participation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The last point is very, very valid. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you for the effort and the presentation. My own question has to do with the type of preservative, because I think when it comes to food processing, the preservative, it gives a lot of concern. So what form of preservative are you using, and what is the guarantee that it is safe over a long time? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Topan has been on this research for 9 years. If you go through our Facebook, our Instagram page, you'll see how we've already been making it locally. And there is no preservative. It lasts, the shelf life is 12 months and is guaranteed. And they will be doing that for the past 9 years. We'll be training women, educating women on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's clap for him. Let's appreciate him. That's the last. That is the last. That is the last. The game is over. Madam, you want to make a comment? Eh? Okay, sorry. I saw the hand up. Sorry.
Thank you very much. I'd like to request we give our judges a resounding round of applause for a very meticulous job. But just before we hear final competition, I'd like to request all of them to just come for... Okay, just after you, please.
Just hold on a second. I think the judges wants to make 1 or 2 final or general remarks. Please. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, the moderator. And then for the entrepreneurs, thank you so much for these wonderful ideas and products. But I just wanted to make a general comment on the issue of pitching and what judges expect to hear from you while you're pitching. And of course, I'll make it fast. Of course, if you're talking about funding, yes, you need to mention what you want, and then what you want to do with the funding, and then that also goes with a financing plan. How are you going to source the fund? Is it going to be from equity? Is it going to be from debt? Will you talk about your personal contribution to it now, and then financing plan? What exactly are you going to use the funding for? Is it for working capital purposes? Is that for asset acquisition and so on and so forth? Some of those details are key to, it's what we want to hear when you're talking about you need 1 naira or 2 naira. Then value proposition is also key. I think one or two of you made that comment on value proposition. That is what will drive your product in the market. If you don't have value to present to consumers, they will avoid your product. So you need to tell everyone the kind of value you're presenting to the market, and that will drive sales to your product. And of course, an investor will be interested in knowing, is this product profitable? How are you going to pay back the money you're requesting for? You need to know when you can break even, when you can start making profit. Is it year 1, year 2, or whatever? And then so that the investor will be able to know, how long am I going to keep this money? Am I going to keep the money with you for 5 years before I start getting my returns? If the number of years it's going to take to tie down the capital does not favor the investor will just just simply walk away and won't get the funding. So the investor will be interested in knowing how profitable is going to be your business for enabling him to get back his money as quickly as possible. So profitability and sustainability is also key to investors. Of course, when you're bringing a product to the market, you need to do competitive analysis because there are already competitors, because nobody is reinventing the wheel. There are already competitors. If you don't do something that will beat competition, then you're not going to make any headway. So what kind of difference does your product bring to the market to make sure that you're able to beat competitors and have a large market share? Because if you don't have a large market share, how can you drive turnover? How can you drive revenue? How can you drive profitability? And so on and so forth. So these are things we also need to know about. And of course, I think one or two of you talked about the stage of your product. Is this still a prototype? Have you tested the market? Have you introduced it to the market? Because if it's at a prototype level, you wouldn't know exactly how the market will react to your product. And then that will make the investor think on whether he's going to throw his money away, believing that at the end of the day, God will help him to get back his money. If he hasn't got to the market and so on, it becomes a problem, except that if the investor is an angel investor that does not bother about funding and so on. But if not, you need to study very, very clearly whether you have tested the product, whether you have done test marketing, whether you have done market testing and so on and so forth, to be able to prove whether your product will be good or not. Of course, the other little things we need to talk about that will interest, even for us that are judges. These are the things we wanted to hear to make sure that we can say your product is good, your product can excel in the market, and so on and so forth. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Any other comment from this end?
Please. One or two things. Yes, we are really... I just want to reiterate what the previous speaker said. You have to be very critical in your analysis in trying to lure an investor by trying to break down what would kind of make him invest in your product. It's very, very important for him to know what he's getting, because at the end of the day, it all boils down to what? To the profitability. You want to know how to make up his money in no time. So you must make sure you can be able to convince him that yes, if he venture into your business, he's going to make profit in no time and gets back his return on investments in no time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Madam, please.
Thank you very much, and I have to congratulate all of you for your great presentations. Let's clap for you. Yes, I didn't see your business plans, so going forward, if you don't have it, I will advise you to put a very nice plan together, and I think the first speaker mentioned most of the things that you have to put in place, because at the end of the day, you are looking at profitability. Government is also looking at employment generation. So when you make profits, you need to also ensure that you will help government to solve the unemployment problem in your countries. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So let me make my final remarks. I want to thank all of you for participating. It's not easy. Let's clap for them, please. It's only a man or a woman that write exams that have the opportunity of getting results. And to write an exam means I must enroll into a school. I must attend classes. So they passed through all those phases. And they went through the initial selection up to this level. In terms of what we've done today, the standards are not right. there are gaps in the standardization. So we work with NASME so that in the next edition of this program, we're going to have a standards requirement, well documented, so that anybody who's going to participate in the pitch will go through that standard, so that all these comments, issues of cash flow, presentation formats, how do you present your request, your pitch, what do you need, what do you need it for, why somebody should invest in you, we'll clearly have that well documented, so that the same template, like a marking scheme, will be made available to everybody, and then so that everybody can actually have contest on a level playing field. But I think that all of us are winners. So let's clap for ourselves again. There is no loser here, and there is no winner here. All of us are winners. So I think that before we finalize what we are doing here, I want to request that all the 10 contestants, you come forward. Management of NASPI, by NASPI president, come forward for a group photograph while we are putting together this exercise at this back end. Thank you. Yes. MC. There's no music interlude. There's no music.
All right. Whilst we are putting this moment into photographic memories, I'd like to request that all participants that collected the NASME membership form should please see Mr. Ogu at the registration point for more information. And by the way, the membership forms are still available. Mr. Ogu, would you please rise so they can see you, please? Just rise so they can see. Rise, please. That's Mr. Ogu. Those of us who've collected membership form, please do well to see him.
Madam, thank you. Join us, please. Madam, thank you. Thank you. Honorable Commissioner, please join us. Thank you very much.
And after this photograph, the next to join will be Honorable MC. Sorry. All right. Thank you very much. It's been so wonderful. After we're done with judges having completed their scores, we will take one more presentation, and that'll be all for today.
Ghana, Bini, please move forward to join the photograph.
Our brothers from West African subcontinent, please can you come forward to join this photograph? This is a very Baba, please join us.
Sisters from African continental region area, can you come
Our friends from Côte d'Ivoire,
group photograph.
Benin,
Oh, yeah.
Ghana.
No, she stayed there. And then,
Thank you. So let's see the photograph again. Madam from ECOWAS, please join us. Thank you. From Ghana, join us. In those spaces, you come up. Let Chris more space for her, please. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Let's go back to our seat. Thank you very much. Let's clap for ourselves, please. Congratulations to everybody.
It's getting cold outside. It's colder in here.
Trying to discuss at this end.
I made ice from my tears.
Please, judges, come back. Okay, don't go.
I don't just because
One day, please come now. Let's finalize now. Okay, what?
Maybe after this we can call it quits.
How many minutes?
Destiny. But maybe we should try.
Please, fast. There's no time.
Maybe we should try.
Okay.
What if it's different this time?
Please give us some minutes. Let's finalize our results. We don't do like INEC, eh? We don't want results to be contested. So we want to make sure that the figures are correct. So we submitted our individual result now. They are being collated. so that they can now rate them and rank them. Please, give us some minutes to conclude the exercise. Please.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, if you require more time, why not we have the next presentation? If you require more time.
How many minutes? The next presenter. 10 minutes. Yes, the next presenter can come on board. Thank you. Then when we finish the analysis, we'll announce our result. Thank you.
How many presentations do we have? Yours will last. That's the last presentation.
He can down, not down. Let him come now. Mr. Enobong, ECOWAS. I understand you have an announcement to make. Can you come and give the announcement now, please? ECOWAS.
What if the story ends? What if we lose again?
Dr. Inobon, please. All right, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we'll welcome Dr. Inobong at this time, who will give
Good afternoon again. Let me, on behalf of the ECOWAS Commission, appreciate all of us for contributing to these debates and discussions this much, and particularly those that those that made the pitching competition and those that won. I'm sure that now that we have started, we are going to be continuing with these kind of events in future to ensure that the SME class is encouraged and carried along fully. Now, what I'm going to do here is to present to us the steering committees or the technical working groups for the two structures that we're supposed to put in place today. Two of the outcomes of this event is that we will establish two technical working groups. One will be to develop the partnership group for SMEs in West Africa, and the other one will be to work towards the establishment of an ECOWAS small business coalition. Now, one for private sector and one for public sector. For the private sector, we will have NASME is going to be there. CPU, PME, Côte d'Ivoire is there. And then the Chamber of Commerce is there, right? C'est bon? Okay. And then on the public sector side, the partnership side, we'll have SMEDAN is there. The Ghana Enterprise Agency is there. And then I think there was someone from the Ministry of Trade here, right? Okay, so two here, two there. We have SMEDAN, Ghana Enterprise Agency, and we have NASME and Côte d'Ivoire PME group. Now, for the purpose of coordination for this group, I will ask NASME would lead the team for the technical working group. Then the role of NASME would be to mobilize the equivalents of NASME in the Anglophone West African countries, identify them. And the role of Mr. Farrakhan of the CPU PME Côte d'Ivoire would be to do the same for Francophone. Dr. Yerima Abdul, please, can you get up? Let everybody see that's the president of NASME. He's going to lead the team and also coordinate and bring on board the Anglophone side. And that is Mr. Farrakhan. Please come forward so everybody will see you. Diomande, these two guys are going to, we've begun to shake hands across the walls, across the boundaries. So they are going to be working together to mobilize the small and medium enterprise structures, not the SMEs themselves, but the equivalents of NASME, equivalents of CPU in Senegal, in Ghana, in Liberia, in Sierra Leone. They'll bring them together so that we can have another proper steering committee meeting, a proper meeting to form that platform, the ECOWAS Small Business Coalition. So these guys are going to work forward together to lead that. So Mr. Yerima would be chair of the technical committee, supported by Mr. Farrakhan. So please, let's give them a round of applause. I hope the rapporteurs are capturing this in the report, because this has to be in the report, and we'll send it to the bosses to know that this is what is on. So, Mr. Yerima, I give you my hand. So please, you now have the role to bring together the SMEs in West Africa. You have the role to bring together the SMEs of West Africa. You're welcome. Now, on the government side, I thought I saw Smedan here. He has gone. Come now. Are you here for that? Come. No, we have not. Who gave you the authority to start working? Smedan and Ghana Enterprise Agency, please come forward. We have not been inaugurated yet. So you can start working. Ghana Enterprise Agency. The Ministry of Commerce. UNDP was supposed to be here. Okay. So on the government side, we have the Ghana Enterprise Agency. We have the Ministry of Commerce and Industry of Côte d'Ivoire, and we have the Small and Medium Enterprise Agencies of Nigeria. These are the government structures that are going to be working to mobilize the partners, the supporting agencies of small businesses in West Africa. They will also hold their steering committee meeting, and then eventually we will inaugurate that partnership platform for ECOWAS member states. And so, my brother, remind me of your name again. Yes, Monday. Monday is a director with Smedan. Some of you may not know him, but he's here. I'm happy to have you. We've worked together for a long time. This is a role that the ECOWAS Commission, the region, is putting on Smedan to collaborate with the Ghana Enterprise Agency and the Côte d'Ivoire Ministry to bring on board your equivalents across West Africa. And Madam Philomena, Ghana Enterprise Agency, I'm happy that you are here. We've been struggling to get the agency on board, but this is part of the process. When you're developing a situation, it's always not easy, but I'm happy that you're here. So welcome, and we need you to collaborate with your colleagues across the boundaries to mobilize your equivalents across West Africa. Monsieur, bienvenue. Nous sommes très contents. Bienvenue. Maintenant, c'est vous qui va conduire tous les groupes de support de PMI pour nous. Merci beaucoup. Bienvenue. So I will give them a few minutes to introduce themselves and commit to all of us that they are ready to carry on with this job. Let me start with Côte d'Ivoire.
Je m'appelle Bertin Angoua. Je suis le directeur de l'assistance et du développement des PME en Côte d'Ivoire. Je ne peux que remercier la CEDEAO pour la confiance qu'elle nous accorde. Je pense que nous allons tout faire pour être à la hauteur de nos missions. En tout cas, au nom de Monsieur le ministre en charge des PME de mon pays, je ne peux que vous remercier.
Thank you very much. My name is Flumna Jani, and I'm from the Ghana Enterprises Agency, which is under the Ministry of Trade and Industry. We think that coming together as a group will give us a voice in the sub-region, looking at how we want to trade in Africa and all that, because if you look at our population, we are huge. But normally, if you go into the countries, you realize that we rather import from developed countries. So as Africans, I think that we have to come together, the institutions that are developing MSMEs in these countries are supposed to come together so we can share ideas, we can share knowledge, and we can share best practices. So on behalf of Ghana Enterprises Agency, I want to say that we agree to be part of this technical working group. We are going to do our best so that at the end of the day, the objectives of this committee will be achieved. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Dr. Moussa Elias Farakan from Côte d'Ivoire, CPU. I would like to say we are very determined to support all the initiatives of ECOWAS in regard to SMEs. As you may know, SMEs are the backbone of our economy. We need to support them. We need to, to help them to develop a new vision of our economy. Thank you very much to ECOWAS, to everybody.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, once more, my name is Dr. Abdrashid Yarima. As the chairman of the steering committee of the Coalition of Small Businesses in West Africa, I would like to commit that we're going to work closely with other countries and other BMOs in the other member states of the ECOWAS in ensuring that the interest of MSMEs is well protected, and also we ensure that we look at the challenges and advocate for a better working environment, a better business ecosystem, and advocate for the improvement of their products and services so that they can be highly competitive, not only in the West African sub-region, but in the Africa and also in the world at large. International trade is all about three things. One is immigration, customs, legal, and the most of all is the competitiveness. There are quality issues. So emphasis will be placed on this, and then we would like to ensure that there is trade barrier. We would like to break the trade barriers so that there will be free movement of goods and services across the West African state and ensure positive impact on each and every MSMEs in the West African state. Thank you.
Yeah, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. My name is Monde Ewans. I'm a Director, Enterprise Development and Promotion at the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria. Of course, SMEDAN is the apex government agency for supporting small businesses in Nigeria. We provide them all the resources they need for those who want to start, for those who want to scale, for the sole objective of making sure that jobs are provided for our people, wealth is created, and then poverty is reduced across Nigeria. And of course, for what we are doing here is very, very key. I've also been involved in the development of the ECOWAS MSME Charter for the sub-region. So we know all those things, and then the policy, the charter, is especially important for supporting small businesses across the sub-region to make sure that we provide all the resources they need to achieve their objectives. And of course, on behalf of my Director General, I want to commit to the support of SMEDAN to these objectives, to the achievement of these objectives, to the benefit of all MSMEs across the sub-region. Thank you so much.
So congratulations and all the best. Thank you. Yes, you can go. I thought you were speaking. Mr. Chair, where is the moderator? I need to hand over to the moderator now. So hand over to the moderator. What next? What next?
Okay, it's for the
the
after man. There's somebody who said AU, yeah. AU, African Union.
Thank you very much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome Mr. Williams Sinwaza, African Union Commission, presentation on AU SME program. And on his behalf, I'd like to welcome Dr. E.J. Eradiri, who stands in a stand to make this presentation, ladies and gentlemen. And after this, we'll hear from the Police Microfinance Bank, and they will call it today after the vote of thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, Dr. E.J. Eradiri, I welcome you.
Thank you. I don't feel welcome. Maybe I should clap for myself. Okay, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on a day as this, I think the first thing is to commend NASME, the leadership of NASME, for putting this program together, and also the ECOWAS Commission. Basically, I will be running my presentation on behalf of William Sinwaza from the African Union, and the presentation is supposed to be uploaded. I hope that the text is the tech. Are we together? Okay, it's going to be uploaded so that we can have a good understanding of what we want to do here. But just before they upload, let me give you a brief so that you can follow through accordingly. The African Union, as you all know, is an intergovernmental organization, and of course, all the African countries, 55 in nature, are part of the African Union. And there's a department in the African Union called African Union Department for Economic Development, Trade, Tourism, Industry, and Mines. It's called the AU ETIM. Now, basically, that department is in charge of SMEs, which is small and medium enterprises across the continent. Now, in 2018, the African Union decided to have an SME strategy, which is more like a framework, a pathway to develop the SME ecosystem in the continent. And what do we want to achieve by that? The idea of having a plan of action is so that the SMEs can benefit from the robust plan of the African Union. On a general note, Africa is blessed, African SMEs are resilient, and then each African country alongside their SMEs are peculiar. And if we must harness the potentials of the SMEs, then we should be able to have a good plan for them. We should be able to provide the kind of finance they need. We should be able to provide the kind of support they need for them to grow. The African Union has what you call the Agenda 2063. Agenda 2063 is a plan of the African Union for Africa to prosper. And then Aspiration 1 of the African Union Agenda 2063 is prosperity for all in Africa. And the question is, how can you have prosperity for all in Africa without eradicating poverty? And how do you eradicate poverty without creating wealth? And how do you now have this wealth without the SMEs? So the SMEs are the most important of all for us to achieve prosperity. I was thinking that the SMEs would give themselves a round of applause. Now it appears that people are getting a lot distracted. Is it time for lunch? Are we ready for this? Now, basically, we are saying that the SMEs are a very important component of prosperity for the continent. And the AU, the African Union, has decided to have a strategy for development. And if you don't understand that strategy for development, how can you benefit from it? This AFCFTA you are talking about is part of the Agenda 2063. The AFCFTA cannot be successful without the SMEs. They know that the SMEs are the most important ingredient. Yes, thank you. So just permit me to step down a bit. I was just talking to you from my head, and I'm trying to see that you have an introduction towards what we want to talk about. Okay? Are we together? Can we rise up for a bit? Can we just have a health break? Maybe we should just stand up for a bit, everyone, please. Can we rise up for a bit? Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, please, can we just rise up for a bit? I think we are tired. Let's have a health break. Stretch your hands up, please. Stretch your hands up, down, up, down. Thank you very much. Let's sit down and continue. Please, let's sit down. I will need your attention. This is very important. Now, the good news is that the AU is providing a plan of action for finance for SMEs. And if we do not listen to this and understand it now, I wonder how you can gain and benefit from it. So please, I need your attention. I will run through this as quickly as I can and see that it's not boring. Thank you. Okay, so what we have up here, if you can hear me, what you have up here, you will see presentation outline. The situation analysis of SMEs in Africa. Now, the situation of SMEs in Africa, we all know. SMEs in Africa, on a general note, are suffering from, what do we want to say? Financial challenges, technology challenges, innovation, and so forth. Now, what we want to do is, if you know what the situation is, you know what the challenges are, then you also would know what the opportunities are when you see them. Rationale for an AU SME strategy. Basically, why should we have an AU SME strategy? An AU SME strategy, like I said, is a framework, is a plan of action. If you do not have that framework, which all the 55 African countries buy into, then how do you want the SMEs to flourish? So we must have the rationale, which we understand as the rationale for the AU SME strategy. Then pillars of the SME strategy. Now, this document has all what you see here. I'm going to read them out, and then we are going to just run them as quickly as possible. Now, there's a methodology, there's a way forward, there is a monitoring and evaluation, there's a reporting mechanism, there's communication and outreach mechanism, there's resource mobilization and partnership building. Now, basically, what we are trying to say, the message I said to you here was, we are putting together a fund. The AU is putting a fund, a special fund for SMEs. Now, what that means is that you may not need to go to Afrexim Bank. You may not need to go to AFDB. You may not need to go to regular banks because they are giving you money, they are businesses. They are giving you money from their shareholders' funds. You know, so, but if the AU is able to set up that fund, it means that you are having it at a very cheap rate. You know, so they're putting the skin in their game. So it's going to be a very cheap rate. Go ahead. Let's have the next slide, please. Good. Now, yesterday I did say that the SMEs in Africa, by statistics, is about 100 million. That's the statistics we have. We have that statistics on good grounds. And so the population board with the youth making up to about 70% of the Africa population. So basically, 70% of the Africa population is the youths. And of course, we are saying we have 100 million SMEs in the continent. And so what that means is that you have a high number of youth SMEs, youth and women SMEs. It's a double-bladed sword. On one side, creating the opportunity for enhancing investment and economic growth, and on the other, stiffening the unemployment challenge. Now, basically, what we are saying here is that with the SME strategy and that plan of action, we are going to stimulate economic growth. You know, and basically, if all your SMEs are participating actively, definitely, and you have this kind of support you require, there will be economic growth in the continent. Accounting for almost 90% of the economic contribution, SMEs are the main source of employment and basis for the economies across Africa. Now, basically, this statement is can be considered a generic statement. At the world level, at the global stage, it is known that SMEs generate employment. They create wealth. So bring it back to Africa. If this is what is happening at the world level, in China, in Europe, then it can happen in Africa. Africa has about 1.4 billion population. So this can happen, and the SMEs are key, are the way to go. SMEs, small and medium industries, have also the potential to utilize domestic industrial inputs and raw materials and provide the basis for promoting value addition and commodity-based industrialization. Now, just few weeks ago, I want to emphasize on that commodity-based industrialization. Now, when we talk about industrialization, the SMEs are also key. So when we say the SMEs are the most important ingredients for economic development in Africa, and that prosperity Africa seeks, we mean it. Because commodity-based industrialization or promoting value addition cannot happen without the SMEs. But the SMEs need to understand their importance. They need to know why, for everything you are doing, value addition, that's what we're talking about. Once there's a value chain approach to it, it is easier and better for you. You can make more funding available for yourself through windows that the AU is going to provide. Now, interestingly, the AU is holding hands with European Union, with ITC. So basically, there's room for capacity building, there's room for funding, and most interestingly, there's room for capacity aggregation. So some of these kind of things I'm mentioning here, I hope they are not new and strange to you, because these are the things contained in the SME strategy. There is the Enterprise Africa Network. What it means is that all of us here as SMEs, we must begin to connect and onboard ourselves into a continental framework for networking. So that means if I want to buy and sell, thank God for e-commerce. Most of us already know what e-commerce is. But it's easier to onboard yourself on a continental platform, which now becomes a network. You can stay in Nigeria and you are doing business and connecting with businesses in Cote d'Ivoire, or in Accra, Ghana, or in Benin, or in Togo, or in Rwanda. Next slide, please. Next slide. Are we together? Next slide. Tech. Where is the tech? Can you give us the next slide, please? Thank you. Yes. Opportunities, African SMEs, opportunities. The SMEs and SMIs can contribute to export diversification by raising their productivity and competitiveness and engaging in trade through RUVCs and GVCs. Now, RUVCs, I hope you know that RUVCs are regional value chains and GVCs are global value chains. Necessary to tap on the opportunity for SMEs in existing sectors such as agro-processing, manufacturing, while harnessing the potential of emerging sectors such as green, renewable energy, and social enterprises, as well as the creative sector in supporting the services sector. Now, what this means clearly is this. Thank God, yesterday, and even earlier today, we're talking about green energy. We're talking about renewable energy. That is where the world is going to, and the SMEs need to buy into it. There's even a new situation we call the ESG, environment, social, and governance. Now, what ESG does for SMEs, it's a new line of action we are building on. But what ESG does for SMEs, if your SME is ESG compliant, it's easier to attract international funding for you. So at the African Union level, we are working on trying to get all SMEs in the continent to be ESG compliant. Because when you are ESG compliant, it means that you are adapting and you are following through the climate change, the situation that is facing us. So basically, we are encouraging SMEs to be ESG compliant. What that means, as I've said, is that if you are ESG compliant, international support towards funding for your SME is as good as sure. Next slide, please. Studio. Thank you. Challenges of Africa's SMEs. Africa's SMEs are faced with several challenges, few of which are outlined below. Now, we've talked about this before, but let me just run through it. Low competitiveness in the global trading system. It is a challenge in Africa. We know that. Most of our SMEs in Africa, like we said, are not connected to the RUVCs, regional value chains, and they're not also connected to the global value chain. So if you are not connected within the continent, 1.4 billion, you have a market of 1.4 billion persons already. and you are not connected to them. Just imagine that you are selling one product of $1, 1.4 billion. Within the continent alone, your SME can thrive. So we're encouraging you to work within the continent and then service the continent and then leave the extras for the global value chains. Lack of market linkages as well as trade barriers, including tariff and non-tariff measures in international markets, also pose barriers to Africa's SMEs. Now, what we are speaking here, the English here is simple. We have a lot of bottlenecks that stop SMEs from trading. I heard the other day somebody drove from Côte d'Ivoire to Abuja, and it took about 5 days. I cannot tell, but I can imagine the number of stops, the number of police checkpoints. Like between Cotonou border, Seme border, and Lagos, you have about 62 checkpoints. 62 on the Nigerian side. Now, if you are driving from Côte d'Ivoire, Abidjan, to Ghana, to Accra, you also have the issues with immigration and other security agents. Imagine that you are driving through, you have to pay money to cross the borders, even if you're a West African citizen. As a West African citizen, you are not supposed to just show your ID card or show your passport. You should pass. But that's not happening. So that is a barrier. That's a barrier. People are not able to actually move freely within the continent and within the regions, and that's bad. I have had a nasty experience where between the borders of Ghana and Accra, they had 2,000 CFAs. Each border was taking 2,000 CFAs. That's not good for business. That's me as an individual, not my vehicle, not my goods. So imagine that I am paying for myself, I'm paying for my goods, so it's not good enough. And on the AU side, we have got this information about what's going on. When that happened to me, they didn't know who I was. They couldn't tell what, but as soon as I got into Accra, I went to the AFCFTA Secretariat, I saw the Secretary General, and I told him what happened. So that is a nasty barrier, and it's not good for SMEs, it's not good for the continent. We have to jump beyond that, but then it is up to us. We must be active in this process. Next slide, please. Access to finance. Everybody, if I put a quick question now, what's the biggest challenge for SMEs? Everybody will say finance. Even if I know that finance is not the number one challenge, but finance is a key challenge. Access to energy infrastructure is also a critical challenge. Yes, the man that drove from Côte d'Ivoire, 5 days, infrastructure. The Lagos-Abidjan corridor, where are we on it? On the other end, in Southern Africa, they're almost hitting from Morocco to Southern Africa to Johannesburg. They're almost getting, in the next 2 years, you should be able to drive on a clean road from Morocco to Johannesburg. Now, on our side of West Africa, where are we on it? It's a challenge, infrastructure. We should be able to talk about trains. In Morocco, you're talking about high-speed trains. In Nigeria, you have trains, but those trains, they could be better. They could be better. Now, access to energy. Another important factor here, energy. The world we live in now, everybody's talking about energy. And the moment you control energy, you've controlled everything. Your cost will drop if you have cheap energy, if you have clean energy. And so energy is very important. It's a challenge. It's known. It's not just in Nigeria. In the entire West Africa, interestingly, energy situation, that's electricity particularly, is better in Côte d'Ivoire, in Togo. I'm speaking in West Africa. Togo, Côte d'Ivoire, Cotonou, Ghana. Electricity is more stable. In fact, you can stay for a very long time and you won't have a whole week. You may have power cut for maybe 1 hour for the entire week. And Annoyingly, Nigeria gives power to them. But I tell you this, for Nigeria is business. If I give you energy, you pay for it. They are paying for it. Nigeria, huge population, big land mass, landscape. People don't like to pay for electricity. So that's the bit of the challenge. But I think we need to find a solution or a common ground to this. Inadequate business development services to support for SMEs are key constraint to their growth. Now, this bit is a continuous exercise. When we talk about business development service, BDS, at the Nigerian level, at the Cote d'Ivoire level, or ECOWAS level, there are national SME institutions in West Africa. In Nigeria, I think SMEDAN is the #1 national SME institution in Nigeria. You have same thing in the rest of West Africa, and indeed the rest of Africa. And they all have what you call business development service providers. So what those people do, they do a closer hand-holding of SMEs and SME operators. So basically, they are closer to you. They're able to understand your challenges. They're able to help put you through so that you can be able to benefit from banking schemes. Some people don't know how to write their business plans or feasibility reports. All those are things that the BDSPs are able to do for you. So it's continuous process. And now, NASME has been able to put you together. NASME has ensured that you are having knowledge sharing here. That is all business development services. So NASME has done. I think we should give a round of applause to NASME. Policy frameworks to support entrepreneurship development are not integrated into or aligned with broader economic development frameworks and sector strategies. What does this mean? In West Africa, at the ECOWAS level, there is the SME Charter, right? I must tell you too, I think we should commend ECOWAS. Most of the initiatives ECOWAS has been driving in this region becomes every other region, every other REC, which is Regional Economic Community, wants to copy ECOWAS. ECOWAS was first to have a charter, was first to have a framework, and AU at the continental level bought into it. And now many other SADC, EAC, Central Africa, everybody is buying into it. But buying into it is one thing. Now the next thing is who is running and finishing with it. So I think we should commend ourselves over that at the ECOWAS level. But policy frameworks, the big issue with policy frameworks, most institutions churn out lots of policies. In Nigeria, for instance, SMEDAN has a beautiful framework for SMEs for Nigeria. And I think it's even the most recent. It's if SMEDAN is here to correct me, I think it's 2021 to 2025, which is 4 years. I got it right. Thank you, sir. So that document in Africa, SMEDAN is #1 to have one of the latest. There are only about 4 countries in Africa that have the latest frameworks within the country. And SMEDAN, Nigeria, is #1. It is known. But you see, one thing is having the framework, another thing is implementing it. And that's the biggest issue. Not just having a beautiful book or document, it's implementation. And that implementation is what you will benefit from. So perhaps the SME ecosystem in West Africa should hold their national SME institutions responsible, accountable. Read the documents and hold them accountable. That's the only way that some of these frameworks can be implemented or can see the light of day. And then we shouldn't be working at cross purposes. Now, SMEDAN has put a beautiful framework at the country level. ECOWAS at the regional level has also put another framework. But are they aligned? If they are not in alignment, then there's a problem. Same thing with the other governments. If they are not aligned to one direction, then we are working at cross purposes. And that is not good for us. Next slide, please. We all know COVID-19 pandemic, a major recent challenge for performance of SMEs. Okay? All of us, in 2020, COVID-19 was not kind to all of us. It slowed us down, but in slowing us down, China was making money. COVID, they said, came from China, but the SMEs in China were making money. A few SMEs in Africa also made some money. But the number of SMEs that, what's the word? They crashed. They stepped aside. Nigeria used to have about 45, as at 2020, Nigeria had about 45 million SMEs. Today, by statistics from SMEDAN and MBS, I think it's about 39.5 or 40 million. Just say around 40 million SMEs. So 5 million SMEs crashed. So the biggest challenge now for Nigeria is how do you walk up 5,000 SMEs that stepped aside? Nigeria is about 220 million population. And so if the SMEs if everybody in the SME sector in Nigeria is crashing out, then I wonder what's going to happen. How are we going to have the economic growth we are looking for in Nigeria? Extreme vulnerability and disruption in the African and global supply and demand value chain. Now, what this means is that we've been encouraging the fact, we said, have a disruption. The other day I said, most of the financing institutions say SMEs are high risk. But at the same time, they also tell you that startups are earning good ROI, you know. So if you say they're having good ROI, they're also an SME. Are they not a risk anymore? You know, so what we're trying to say is that have a disruption. That's what it is. You know, disturb the space, come up with new innovative ideas, come up with new things. You know, you can do it. This is a period of time in our lives where we are using tech to change everything. We're talking about moving from brick and mortar. People are talking about ECOWAS. I know ECOWAS and UNIDO were talking about having an industrial park for West Africa. While that is good, some state governments and some other regional governments within West Africa are also talking about having special economic zones, SEZs. But you know what? That's brick and mortar. You will need to spend money to set up SEZs for the SMEs to go and set up their shop there. One of the best SEZs you have in the continent is in Tangier, Morocco. But you know, why don't we have virtual SEZs using tech? That way, you can upload your goods and your services and be seen on a particular platform, and buying and selling can happen. That way we can trigger economic growth, and that itself is disruption using technology. Micro, small, and medium fashion enterprises, in particular, forced by the adverse business climate slowdown and even shutdown. Well, for me, this was in the past. We're not just talking about COVID-19, we should talk about a crisis. There could be war. Just unexpectedly, Niger shut down. There was a crisis, a security crisis. You could have this anywhere. And so the point is, when these kind of things happen, what do we do? How do we move forward? The fashion industry, if you may want to know, has about $3.6 or $3.7 trillion. That's what goes into that industry. Now, in Africa, we like fashion. Where is our African fashion? Where is our place in that market? So this is a big challenge. You know, when we talk about fashion, I'm tempted to talk about creative industry. Most of the ladies, the beautiful ladies we have, they have their hair. Now that hair market, that hair industry in Nigeria, $820 million industry in Nigeria. You are getting hair, you're importing hair from different parts of, it's an expensive So in any case, let's begin to think. I've told you how much money you are spending on hair. We need to look at it, and we need to turn it around to our advantage. Next slide, please. Rationale for the AU SME strategy. The rationale is based on the fact that SMEs have the potential to help address Africa's unemployment challenge, youth displacement, migration, serving as source for jobs, innovation, poverty reduction, and economic growth. I tell you a story, a quick story. The EU, the European Union, is very concerned about migration. And so in a conversation we had February last year during the EU-Africa Summit, the business forum, we said, hey, is it possible for you, EU, to hold hands with our SMEs to set up industries and improve what they do in the continent? They said, why are we asking? And we said, because we know that if our SMEs are flourishing, our youths are engaged, they won't want to migrate to Europe. They won't want to cross the Mediterranean and go through all that hurdle. So it's going to be a win-win situation for us if you help us set up here. And they looked and they said, what we are saying makes sense. So what are we talking about? We are saying that in this AU SME strategy, we are trying to have all the components that can help our SMEs grow. Speak the language to the institutions and speak it in the way they want to hear it. The EU was happy to hear that because they are worried about migration. But we are worried about jobs for our SMEs. We want to create the jobs here and then export. And so, innovation, and then like we said, SMEs, the source of jobs, job creation. Taking into account the AU's comparative advantage in engaging RECs and member states, the strategy identifies how the AU can leverage its convening power to advocate among RECs. RECs are regional economic communities like ECOWAS. ECOWAS is a REC. SADC, which is Southern Africa Development Commission, is a REC. EAC, they're all RECs. So basically what AU is saying here is that AU every year, in February every year, the heads of states of all the countries, of 55 states in Africa, they meet at Addis Ababa to discuss and take decisions for the continent. And AU is saying that it has the capacity to bring everybody together. So based on that, it is an advantage to be able to discuss the interest of SMEs. And that's why this framework is important. Next slide, please. The vision, AU SME strategy. Like I said, in 2018, AU came up with this strategy, for the first 4 years. And last year, it has been reviewed for another 4 or 5 years. So basically, it's work in progress. To develop competitive, diversified, sustainable economies underpinned by dynamic SMEs, entrepreneurship that generate employment, reduce poverty, and foster social inclusion across the continent. So basically, this is the vision. Prosperity. Everything that has been said here is prosperity. Prosperity for you and prosperity for the continent. Next slide, please. The strategy pillars. Number 1. There are 7 pillars. I will just run through them because I know people are getting bored and perhaps it's almost lunchtime. Create an enabling business environment, including promote access to energy and infrastructure, facilitate innovation and technology, and promote startups, knowledge-based sectors, and growth enterprises. Promote SMEs access to financing, promote access to markets, export competitiveness, and regional trade integration, promote business development services, and institutional capacity building. I want to underline institutional capacity building. NASME is an institution. You heard, I think it was the vice president of NASME that said they were sent to Tunisia for either 2 months or something to build their capacity. And so when they build their capacity, especially in their own case, they built their capacity, came back here and built capacities for 10 others. So it's continuous process. It's very important. SMEDAN, most times SMEDAN in Nigeria travels out to build their capacity and the capacity of their staff. When they have the right capacity, you don't give what you don't have. Once they have the right capacity, they are able to pass that on to SMEs they're engaging. And this is the same thing that happens in Cotonou. There's a Ministry of MSMEs in Cotonou. There was same for all the French-speaking Africa. They have the same thing. So this is continuous, and we, interestingly, at the continental level, they just set up a platform for heads of national African SME institutions. And basically that platform is so that they can have peer review mechanisms. They can be able to relate with themselves, and they can find it easy to help domesticate this AU SME strategy. Number 5, promote business development services and institutional capacity building, I said. Promote learning practices and knowledge management. Promote inclusive entrepreneurship and livelihood development. Now, these are the 7 pillars. You need to, as much as possible, Google it, read it, know it, engage. It has to be a two-way approach. The SME strategy is not for the AU. It was designed for you. That's the SME ecosystem in the continent. Now, these same strategy pillars we're talking about are such that you can use it to hold your own institutions. Hold them responsible. They too can shape some of their conversations around this for your benefits. Next slide. Strategy pillar and broad intervention areas. Well, let's deepen this a bit. Pillar 1, create enabling business environment and ensure energy access and infrastructure. On a general note, all the governments will always tell you that they are there to create enabling environment. It's a regular statement from the government. How regular it is in other climes, I do not know. But create an enabling environment. How much have we created an enabling environment? Smidan will tell us. Okay, so develop and promote a continental model charter to enhance SMEs development. Study and apply tax scheme to promote SMEs growth. Let me hold it at this point. Tax. I think, to my mind and judgment, when it comes to taxes, the SMEs in West Africa have not really enjoyed benefits for taxes. They overtax them, and in turn, they give them little or nothing. So, like I said to you, you need to hold your institutions. Hold your institution, engage with them more. They have to be tax friendly. If your SME is succeeding, you are flourishing, the government is supporting you, you'll be happy to pay tax. You'll be very happy to pay tax. Now you just started business, and they are putting all kinds of taxes on you. This is not just a Nigerian thing. This thing I'm talking about is what we have heard across the continent. In South Africa, in Botswana, in Kenya, in Rwanda, it's the same story. It's not peculiar to West Africa. So it's something that we need to all tackle at a point from the continental perspective, but then all the countries need to domesticate. And when they domesticate, then institutions, the apex body leading it, let's say, for instance, in Nigeria, because we're in Nigeria, SMEDAN will help to push forward that interest for you. NASME, as a group and as a body, will support SMEDAN over that because it's private sector. So that's how this conversation should go. Supportive policy and regulatory measures for SMEs and entrepreneurship development. It's as plain as it is. Regulatory frameworks. The measures for regulation in the continent has to also be tweaked. I think on a general note, it is difficult to just use the magic wand and say change. What will be easy for East Africa may not be easy for all in West Africa. You remember that in West Africa you have Francophone and then the English-speaking West Africa. And so sometimes one block will find it difficult to respond spontaneously, and the other block may just embrace it. So it's a challenge. So, but at this point, as we are talking and having these conversations, everybody goes home and be able to talk with their own people, and then perhaps it can help in this domestication we're talking about. Promote energy access and infrastructure. Example, transport, internet access, broad utility. In West Africa, comparing West Africa to lunch is ready. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I have just been informed that what we have given to you is so much. This conversation, we will not be able to finish it here and now, but I will just run through this and then the last 5 pages. And on a general note, this will be shared. This document will be shared so that it's a public document. You should own it. You should be able to look at it. This is what we are talking about. You are the SMEs, you know. So this is designed for you. And then we will continuously talk about this and harmonize. We are trying to harmonize and align the positions the AU is talking about at the continental level with the positions of the regions and then the positions of each individual countries. And we are talking, as we are talking with them, we want to have you also follow through. I mean, we want to have you following through. If you don't understand it, how will you embrace it? You cannot understand it and you want to embrace it. It's difficult. So we're trying to break it down for you to embrace. And then basically, there will be room for you to perhaps communicate. Your email addresses are all there. They will share this document and you can engage it. If you think you have questions and queries, if you throw it to ECOWAS will bring it back to our attention and we'll take it from there. Yeah, everybody wants to promote internet. I'm saying that in East Africa and then Southern Africa, they are better with internet. Go to Rwanda and see what they are doing with internet. Go to Mauritius, see what they are doing with internet. Go to Botswana or go to South Africa. So basically, West Africa, I think there's a gap. That's another exercise for another day, but I think that digital internet savviness is a situation that needs to be addressed and it will help the SMEs. Next, let's go to the last 5 slides. The last 5 slides, because this document will be shared, you know. So once we do the last 5 slides, I will give you room to ask questions. Yes, you have you registered. Yes, as long as you registered at the front desk there, this document will be shared for all of you. It is with them, so they will share it for everybody. Last 5 slides, please. Resource mobilization. This is the part that you would like to see. Promoting Regional Development Fund. We have been on this matter for the last 10 months. We were in Djibouti to address this development fund. And I'm happy to inform that the AU has approved that there should be an SME development fund. I am part of that committee. Islamic Badea, which is an Islamic bank, is part of the committee. Afrexim Bank is part of the committee. AFDB is part of that committee. So basically, it's to put together the fund I was talking about for SMEs. So that's one way of getting mobilizing resources to fund something for continental SMEs. And again, remember I talked again about, I said to us, we're all from villages here. We're all from communities. Imagine that when you go to a farmer, a hunter, a fisherman, that's an SME in quotes, that knows that by 2 a.m. he goes into the bush or he goes into the stream, the river, and throws his net, he will catch fishes. He knows that in some communities, some people have very good names. These people from this family, they don't tell lies. They are very honest people. You must have heard that before. In some villages, people from here, they are very honest people. That should be a collateral in itself. But you see, these people from here are very good at this particular trade or this skill. When you go to a regular bank, they ask you, with everything you are good at, you say you want some funding. They'll begin to say, okay, we can give you the funding, but they'll pass you through their processes. And imagine someone that just needs, let's say a fisherman that needs a new fishing gear of 1 million. he's going to ask a bank. And the bank is asking him to bring feasibility studies, bring bankable business plan, bring this, bring that, then bring equity, 30% of that fund. How is he going to explain that? So all that are challenges across the continent that SMEs are having. And it was based on this conversation that in Djibouti, the decision was taken that that SME development fund should be put together. And ITC from Geneva and other institutions will work with us towards building capacity for SMEs across the continent. So there's a lot of good news for SMEs. So you need to know this. Please, can you give AU a round of applause? Partnership building. Partnership building. Good. Partnership building is an essential factor for success in resource mobilization and effective implementation of the AU SME development. A partnership arrangement can help pull together AU's development organs and promote the delivering as one. Now, what this means clearly is that, in the SDGs, the 17th goal is partnership. So now, the partnership we're having is partnership with you and partnership with everyone that can support Africa's SME ecosystem. What people will call the Friends of Africa. Even in the Caribbean, the diaspora is now considered as the 6th region in Africa. And there's so much money in the diaspora. People have money outside, and they would like to fund things here in the continent. I was in Ghana in January, and a huge population from diaspora was in Ghana. And what did they say? They said, look, we're Africans. We want you to treat us as Africans, and we want to bring our money here, but let us have a 50-50 relationship. That's what they said in Ghana. So basically, there is funding out there, because you look at it on a very clear note. People were taken away, our ancestors were taken away from here as slaves. They didn't want to go. They took them out. They used them for plantation and all that. And after doing all that, they said, okay, slavery is over, send them back. Some of the ships stopped in the Caribbean, offloaded people to Bahamas, And if you've been to the Caribbean, it's very like Africa. The same green grass. Everything we have here, it's almost how the Caribbean is. So maybe the ships thought that was Africa. They dropped some people there. They brought some others back to Freetown. So basically, those people, the ancestors and all those that have come after them, they want to have an identity. They want to identify with us. And they have funding, diaspora funding, that can support SMEs. They want to hold hands with you. Only 3 months ago, the Afrexim Bank has opened an Afrexim Bank office in Barbados. And basically, that is to encourage the bridge between Africa and the Caribbean. So basically, they want to do business with us because they are our brothers and sisters, and we should be ready to do business with them. We must begin to think global. Open up your mindsets. You can be here and have a partner. You have your brother and sister operating in the Caribbean. You have them in the Americas. So you need to get ready and then put your standards. We've been talking about standards. There's ASO, the African Regulatory Standards Organization. That one will help standardize what you have so that within Africa you can sell, and we can also begin to promote you to also engage with global value chains. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time up for me. But like I said, this conversation will continue. We will send you emails. We are available to engage more. And if you can come to Egypt, the IATF is going to be in Egypt from November 9 to 15th. Intra-African Trade Fair. As much as those that can come. There are a few number of people that we are trying to fund across the continent. A few number. We will try to see how much we can accommodate. But tickets are very expensive. But let's see how it goes. One of the things we try to do is also to have a digital link, a virtual link. If you cannot go by person, can you join the conversation by Zoom? So we will discuss. All what I would like you to do is to see the desk outside and say you are interested for the IATF Egypt, you know. And if you say you want to do it virtually, just put V. Just say V, which is virtual, so that we can ensure that you have that connection. Another thing they will do, I'm sure everybody here has WhatsApp, so they were going to set up perhaps a WhatsApp group for easier integration. That way, once we throw information to you, you know, you can be able to easily pick it up. Now, everybody here is a community. This is a NASME community in Nigeria, and it's also a West African community. So one of the things you try to do, network. People are here from Cote d'Ivoire. Have you seen the businesses from Benin Republic? I just bought pineapple drink and cashew biscuits. I've never eaten cashew biscuits before. Very nice. They would like to have a distributorship here in Nigeria. There are a few things some of you also have here that you would like them to buy. So first of all, let us try to trade amongst ourselves in West Africa. And the prosperity we seek, I'm sure we can have. Thank you, and have a great lunch.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, shall we please put our hands together for him? I'd like to beg everyone, this is what we'll do before we go for our lunch. We'd like to hear final remarks, but before the final remarks, we'll just have a very quick one from the MD, MPF Microfinance Bank Limited. I'd like to welcome Mr. Akiumi Lawal. I'd like for us to pay keen attention. It's going to be very, very brief. Afterwards, we'll take closing formality and then go for lunch. I can see guests are already tired, so famished and exhausted. However, please pay attention to the MPF Microfinance Bank. I welcome you.
Good afternoon, my distinguished audience. Taking it from the National President of NASME, Dr. Abdulrashid Yerima, and I'll stand on that premise to stand on already established protocol. My distinguished audience, this afternoon, the focus of this paper is on empowering women and youth, Nigerian MSMEs, and promoting inclusive and green economy. In Nigeria, micro, small, and medium enterprise are generally referred to as enterprises with up to 250 employees. I don't know whether my slides will be presented, but while doing that, I can speak to micro enterprise between 1 and 9 employees, small enterprises defined between 10 and 49 employees, and medium enterprise between 50 and 249 employees. According to the Ministry of Trade and Investment, Nigeria has over 37 million micro, small, and medium enterprise, and they account for more than 84% of total jobs in the country. The ministry also claimed that MSME enterprise in Nigeria also account for about 48.5% of gross domestic product, GDP, as well as about 7.2% of goods and services exported out of the country. The wheels of the Nigerian economy are kept running by the dynamism of micro, small, and medium enterprise. They serve as the backbone of our economic structure and their ability to adapt quickly to market changes and drive local innovation and foster entrepreneurs makes them a critical force in shaping our economic future. One major challenge of micro, small, and medium enterprise is funding gap. And I'll try to look at it from perspectives that Nigerian government has established numerous schemes and programs targeted at MSME, which you will have listened to, among which is MEDA, UWIN, Trader Money, and Empower at different times. We also have banks and fintech have also been filling the gap in the market by providing short-term finance loans to micro, small, and medium enterprise. And that is also where you have in the space the microfinancing. And of course, in 2013, the CBN launched the Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprise Development Fund with a share capital of 220 million. The broad objective of the fund is channel the low interest fund, the MEA subsector of Nigeria through the participating financial institution. Glad to actually speak to this in the sense that I've listened to a cross-section of a presenter, and even when the pitching, they were making their presentation. One good thing I want to talk about or mention is that, which was smartly summarized by the director from SMEs, is that while trying to source funds, there are fundamentals that must be in place. Your capital contribution, your capacity to demonstrate that you have the capacity to deliver. Your capital and stuff like that. And then from indication, when we are even talking of micro, small, and medium enterprise, for startups, it is not any other kind of fund you need. You need actually developmental funds. And this is where I actually want to speak to the regulatory authorities in the financial sectors, specifically the Central Bank of Nigeria, and even government in this perspective. Startups will definitely need developmental funds that are going to take a minimum of 3, 5, 10 years or thereabouts, not working capital. Because after somebody have acquired the skills, you need to put in the necessary infrastructure. What I mean there is that putting up the assets that is going to, if I have acquired skill in fashion design or in tailoring, in bead making, in agri-sector, in fish farming, shoemaking, I probably need to put in some instrument that will allow me to manufacture, to produce those items. Where will the fund come from? Usually, that is the challenge. Funding from that will probably come from personal savings, gifts, or thereabout. And that is where it's very crucial that these developmental funds, which is with Central Bank, 220 billion has been set aside for this. But the question we ask is that, how have they deployed it? So in terms of deployment in terms of actual, what you talked about, in terms of, it's not an idea of how to do things, but the implementation. So government and the regulatory authority must fathom out a way how these funds are actually deployed to those who actually required it after acquiring some skill sets. If I examining women-owned enterprise, Nigeria has a rural, youthful, and dependent women population. So, with an implication of financial inclusion and economic empowerment, the population of Nigerian adults of women 18 years and above is estimated about 53 million. And of this adult population, 13 million accounted for 26% in the southwest, 12% in northwest, 6 million have no formal education, 23 million are business owners, and 33 million in rural areas and 17 million are dependents. The point I'm taking out of this is that you see that in looking at women enterprise, much is found that women are not involved in. Let me go to this slide that will explain the point I'm saying. Looking at EFINA, according to EFINA, access to financial services Nigeria in September 20 survey, women in Nigeria are underrepresented in formal wage employment, requiring higher education and specialized skills, and overrepresented in vulnerable informal employment. So specifically what you're saying here is that when we talk about formal employment, you find out that we don't have a lot of women there. But whether informal setting, you see that from the slide there, you see that business, trader, farming products, non-farming products, agricultural products, business owner, women accounting for about 44% of that. And then taking that for the women in Nigeria are empowered. These women have access to financial services and educated between the ages 26 and 25. I have a diagram there showing that the age force of between 26 and 35, recording for about 36% are women. Let's quickly go to what I call youth-owned enterprise. Youth employment refers to the process of giving young people the tools, resources, and opportunity they need to take control of their lives and shape their future. Nigeria has a large youthful population. The National Youth Policy defines a youth as a Nigerian citizen between the age of 18 and 35. However, in this page, age bracket of 15 to 35 was considered. The population of youth in the country was estimated to be 64.1 million, with female constituting about 51.6%. While the youth 18 to 35 was about 52.2, with female accounting to 52.8%. That diagram speaks for itself to see the age distribution of youth, both male and female. Nigerian youth are a very marginalized and deprived segment of the population. According to the highest level of unemployment, accounting for the highest level of unemployment, yet there is a great unutilized potential of them. Most of them are forced to seek a living in the micro enterprise, informal sector as hawker, apprentice, art and crafts, and minor technical enterprise. In today's world, young people are the driving force behind many positive changes and advancements. However, we can only realize this potential if young people are equipped with the skills, knowledge, and resources they needed to succeed. What I'm saying here is what I mentioned earlier. After acquiring the skills, you needed to be empowered financially for you to be able to practice that skills. And the kind of fund you need is not a short-term fund. The funds that should be made available are grants and long-term capital. This includes providing education support and access to resources and decision-making power so that the young people can actively participate in creating a better future for themselves and community. Benefit of youth empowerment in Nigeria. Of course, if you actually empower the youth, it will take away a lot of social vices. There will be reduction in crime rates, eradication of poverty, creation of employment, increased political engagement, increased innovation and creativity, and improve global citizenship, improve confidence and self-esteem. I want to quickly go into top youth empowerment program in Nigeria. Part of the reasons why way of empowering the youth is the National Youth Service Corps. This was established in 1973 to promote national unity and integration by allowing young graduates to serve the country and interact with people from different cultural backgrounds. Some other youthful empower, as mentioned before, 2016, to address the issue of youth unemployment and increase social and economic development. Tony Elumelu Foundation Enterprise Program 2015 to promote entrepreneurship and economic development in Africa. Youth Enterprise with Innovation in Nigeria, UWIN. This was established in 2011 to promote entrepreneurship and job creation among young people. Youth Initiative for Sustainable Agriculture in AYISA provide training and support for young farmers and include access to resources such as land farming and market. We also have Youth Empowerment and Development Initiative. This was established in 2011. It provides capacity building, mentorship, entrepreneurship training to young people with focus on promoting entrepreneurship and self-employment. And then you have the youth empowerment people. The program aims to equip young entrepreneurs with skills and resources to start and grow successful business. These are various schemes that government have put in place to actually empower the youth. And so it is important that we have knowledge of this because they are still there and these are things that we can assess. Promoting inclusive and green economy. Nigeria is diversifying its economy to build a greener future. With 5.9 billion Nigerian economic sustainability plan. The plan includes protection for the poor, infrastructure, investment, and solar home system scheme. It also aims to reduce dependency on fossil fuels and cancel fuel subsidy. The Nigerian National Development Plan 2021 to 2025 aims economic recovery, poverty reduction, environmental sustainability, include emission reduction, disaster management, and the areas of finance of environmental sustainability businesses. Initiative and development plans. Medium-term economic growth acceleration plan 2021 to 2025 and economic sustainability plan. 5.9 billion was developed to provide a detailed roadmap for the post-crisis era and promote green growth in the country. Nigeria, through these plans, aim to revitalize its economy by uplifting key sectors that drive bulk of Nigerian GDP. These include non-oil sectors such as agri, 25% of GDP, manufacturing 9% of GDP, and trade of 16% of GDP. Nigeria also recently approved its climate change bill, which adopts a zero target for between 2050 and 2070. At this juncture, I actually want to extract from MPF Microfinance Bank how we have actually been able to adopt sustainability development goals in driving the bank. MPF MFB commit and progress report on sustainability development goal. The sustainability development has 17 goals, and this the bank have actually adopted. And how have we done that? Reduce poverty in all forms. New staff were recruited, and this lead to reduction in the level of unemployment. So, as we adopt SGDV 1 to reduce poverty in all forms elsewhere, as we recruit new staff to join the organization, we are reducing the number of unemployment in them. SDP 2, end hunger, achieve food security and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. We collaborated with government as a transitory National Youth Investment Fund. We reach out to individuals during the year by giving out food items. Promote healthy living and well-being for all ages. This will support our community, the police hospital project, by donating funds to the hospital in Falomo. The bank also offers assistance to employees. Quality education, ensure inclusive, equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Quarterly promos were carried out to students in the form of kid education account, raffle draw. Loan products were developed under financing during the year under giving out support to school children. In SGD 5 is actually centered on women and children, on women and the youth. Achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. How did we do that? A specific product was created for women, known as Better Women. This is to increase growth opportunities for women across different levels of our customer. We also assure that there is no discrimination based on gender within our customer. So the center of this is that how do we promote women and youth to bank with us, to provide banking services to them. We give equal opportunity, and the majority of our customers are women, and we support their business by various products. And if you key into this better savings and loan, the interest rate is below what is the general interest rate in the bank. I think in order to save time, I go smartly into conclusion because I know we are actually Nigeria MSME sector need empowerment for economic growth, especially for women and young people. Access to funding, banking services, and technology can boost the sector. The country could also incorporate a green agenda into its growth plan, focusing on tap market, in manufacturing, in transportation and food processing, investing in renewable energy, improving waste management, and providing incentive for the private sector that can help drive a green economy. Thank you for listening. I appreciate. Thank you all. Take questions if there are any. I realize that we are all very exhausted, but the most important thing is that MPF Microfinance Bank is out there to provide micro and banking services to our customer. We want to say whether it's a police bank, but yes, it's a primary constituency, but we are also open to the general public. And most of our branches these days are sited in the business environment. You find out us. We have 49 branches across the nation, and we are represented in all the states of the Federation. The bank is accessible, and our services are available to all. Savings account, loans account, and our interest is highly competitive, about the best in the industry, both in micro and commercial banking. So I want to thank you for this opportunity to make this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Shall we please put our hands together for him? We'll do 3 things before we go for our refreshment. I'll call someone to speak. It's not a presentation, so it's going to be very brief. And then we'll hear the result from pitching. We'll have final remarks from the president, and then we'll take the vote of thanks. So, ladies and gentlemen, before our final remarks from the president, I'd like to welcome Alhaji Salami Nasiru Allah Swadua to please step forward. I welcome you. Shall we please give him a round of applause?
Good evening. I'm not going to take a lot of time. All protocol observed. I want to appeal to ECOWAS Commission that we service provider, we are having challenges since the closing of the border between Niger and their neighboring country. Most of our small traders from the northern part of ECOWAS, they used to come and buy their onion in Sokoto. Today, if they are leaving Sokoto, they have to go Sokoto, Lagos, Cotonou, Parakou. Parakou is in the northern part of Benin. It's about 1,570 kilometers. Because of the closing of the border of Samia, where if they were going through Sokoto, Samia to Parakou is about 683 kilometers. That is why today we are having problem on cost of good moving because of this issue. There's no problem between Nigeria and Benin. So we are asking ECOWAS Commission, they should please open the border of Samia. Samia is in Kebbi State, in the Bagudo local government. Another challenges we are having is if somebody want to buy good in Ilorin, Kwara State, from Ilorin, if you go to Lagos, from Lagos to Tamale, where you are from Tamale, people from Tamale used to come and buy things. If you are going through Shikanda, is about 768 kilometers because you go from the north to the north. Today, Shikanda border is closed. You have to go from Ilorin to Lagos, from Lagos to Cotonou, from Cotonou to Lome, from Lome to Accra, Accra to Tamale. How can we resolve this issue? So we are just asking the ECOWAS Commission, let them try and talk to our member state. They should open Shikanda corridor. Shikanda is in Benin Republic. Shikanda, Shikandu. The border is in Kwara State. So let them open that border for us to minimize cost of transportation. That is the message I wanted to give to ECOWAS Commission and my brother. So please, our traders from Sokoto are suffering if they want to export their good to some part of ECOWAS in the north. They have to come to coastal region before entering the northern region. That is why today you are seeing goods are costly. And I've seen my brother from Nigeria. So you need to talk to our big men. When there's a problem, you should look at what is going to be alternative. So, but if you say that you are not going to look at alternative, the transport cost is expensive. When you look at the difference, it's about double when you have to go through Lagos, through the coastal region, when you can go through Samia or Shikanda. Is an advice. Thank you very much for allowing me speak. God bless all of you.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome from Smidan. I'd like to welcome Dr. Evan to please step forward. If members of your team are still here, we would like to make announcements of the results for the pitching, and afterwards, Dr. Yerima will bring final and closing remarks. I'd like to welcome you, sir, please. Our members of your team, please. GM MPF Microfinance Bank. Please, members of the judges for the thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. We won't take much of your time. We'll just go straight to the point. And before I continue, I want to thank members of the team. In fact, the chairman of the judges is out of Abuja. Okay, he's on his way to the airport. He's traveling back to Lagos today. And some of other members are not available now. So we want to thank the conference organizers for giving us the opportunity to be members of the judges. And of course, we took our time to drill the the business people that did the pitching. And then, of course, it's important to know that we made our judgment based on a 6 criteria. The number 1 is presentation, which we allotted 15 marks. Number 2 is packaging, which we allotted 15 marks. Funding requirement, we allotted 10 marks. Market share, we allotted 20 marks. Time management, we allotted 20 marks. And finally, innovation, we allotted 20 marks to bring you a total of 100%, 100 marks. And of course, there are 6 of us. Hello? 5. Okay, sorry. 5 judges that did the scoring. At the end of the day, we collected individual scores for each of the participants, 10 of them, and had an average based on our calculation. And then, of course, at the end of the scoring and the average analysis, we came out with this result. Remember, we had number 1 to number 10 entrepreneurs that pitched. So we might not be able to give their names now, but we're going to give their numbers and their position. And then we're also directed to give the result of from number 1, the first position, second position, and the third position. So based on the report we have here, the entrepreneur that took the third position is number 5. Please, a round of applause for the person. Number 5, okay. For the second position, we had a tie. And the tie is between number 3 and number 6. So number 3 and number 6 took the second position. And then finally, the champion of the champions. Business or entrepreneur number, you want to hear? You have to pay me something to announce it too. Okay, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please a round of applause for entrepreneur number 9. Thank you so much. The president. Okay. Thank you so much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Yes. I mean, our presentation was key. NAFDAC was there. Market share was there. So all the parameters she had excellent outing on all the parameters. So thank you so much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. And thank you for the opportunity to serve as judges. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to call the winners to please step out for a group photograph. Winners to first, third, and second position. First, second, and third position, I beg your pardon. Dr. Yerima, please. We need your attention urgently. I'd like to sincerely appeal to all of us. The next voice you hear is that of Dr. Yerima, and after that, we will close formally. Thank you very much. je vous remercie tout pour votre temps et votre participation. Ça a été vu avec vous. Tout merci d'être venu et bon voyage. Que Dieu vous bénisse. Je suis Philippe Rena. Au revoir. But then before we close formally, we'd like to hear from the president who will bring us the formal close.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, winners of our pitching competition, thank you so much. There's a statement in the Olympics that the Olympics, there will always be winners and losers in the Olympics. But the most important thing is participating in the Olympics. The experience is far more important when you participate. And to us in NASME, we are proud of you. You are all winners. And going forward, NASME, in collaboration or in partnership with ECOWAS and also SMEs, UNIDO, ITPO, we will continue to promote you and support you, and also present you to investors that will invest in all your businesses, all the contestants, those who participated. So we can assure you there are no losers. You are all winners, and I congratulate all of you. Congratulations. And also, I would like to state here that our 1 billion naira youth empowerment and 1 billion naira women empowerment, one of our major critical partners is the Nigerian Police Microfinance Bank. And after the empowerment, they have a lot of products which we are going to use in ensuring that we upscale our applicants for the 1 billion naira youth and women empowerment. So they are here not to inform you only of their services and activities, but because they are our critical partners for this 1 billion naira youth and women empowerment program. So I needed to make this clarification so that people will understand why they are here, because they have a lot of solutions that are tailored towards empowering our unemployed graduates and also our unemployed Nigerians, and also to support MSMEs to grow their businesses. So Nigerian Police Microfinance Bank is our critical partners, and then they are ready and they are members of the committee. And this 1 billion naira empowerment fund is not for Nigeria only. It's for 15 member ECOWAS states. So when the call for application comes, it will go to all the 15 member ECOWAS states, those MSMEs that are there, all the unemployed youths that are there are eligible, both male and female, to apply, because this empowerment has taken a new dimension. It has gone sub-regional. So ECOWAS is part of it, International Trade Center is part of it, and also our banks in Nigeria are part of it, and also our institutions like the Office of the Vice President, who is the chairman of the MSME Council, which NASME is a member, and also SMEs, which is the public side of NASME, which NASME is the private side of SMEs. They are part of it. And UNIDO ITPO is always available, and it is part of it also to provide technical support. Actually, they are one of the major sponsors of this event, and also they provided this technical support for this event because their mandate talks about investment and technology. That was the major reason why the focus of this is largely on technology. And you agree with me that when we talk about technology now, we're talking about the green technology. We are not, when we say technology, there is not any aspect of our life that has no technology embedded in it, but narrowing it down on green technology. But I can assure you that our next year program will come with additional sectors. so that everybody will be onboarded. And we are not going to restrict the empowerment solely for those in the green technology, but it's going to be driven by technology. So whatever sector you are, if you are in agriculture, it provides support for the technology responsible for driving that your project. The technology that is behind it. Let me give you an example. If you are in food processing, then if you are in agriculture, we look at the processing. We look at the tractors sector area. The empowerment will come and support the tractor sector area. And then if you are in the food, it will look at how you can process your food, support those processing food. So that is the kind of empowerment that we are looking at. Because the truth of the matter is that we are backward technologically. So one of the aims is towards domesticating some of the technologies that are being used for industrialization. How do we domesticate them in Nigeria and in West Africa? And also, when we collaborate, to me, development is about partnership, innovation, and collaboration. That is the only way. So that's why we're extending it to our other West African states. There are other areas that they are very good, we are weak in. There are areas that we are weak, and they are also strong in those areas. That is the essence of collaborating. And then we can all develop together using the GIS model. Because if you are happy and your neighbor is not happy, or you are bellyful, you have food and your neighbor has no food, that's wahala. All this insecurity we are talking about as a result of some have, some don't have. When you look at the GRAs, those who live in the GRA, they are happy because everybody is rich, everybody is comfortable. But when you go to the other areas, you see that they say, this man has money, this other man is poor, there is problem. But the truth of the matter is that if you really want to develop, you have to carry everybody along. And that is when there will be development. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I use this opportunity to appreciate all of you for your presence, your time, and for your contributions. Without you, this program is not possible. And I also like to appreciate our partners, UNIDO ITPO once more, and appreciate our BOI, appreciate Development Bank of Nigeria, SMEs, Office of the Vice President, Office of the Deputy Speaker, Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, and also the Nigerian Police Microfinance Bank, Sterling Bank, Development Bank of Nigeria, and other stakeholders for their contributions. And also to appreciate our African Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat that was ably represented by Mrs. Joyce. Mrs. Joyce, you are wonderful. Your presentation was excellent. And I can assure you that the tools you shared with us, we are going to share the tool with all MSMEs in West Africa, not only in Nigeria. Now, with the privilege given to me to lead the coalition of the small businesses in West Africa, I believe this is another achievement that we are going to use your tools and share with all the MSMEs in West Africa so that they can onboard into the African Continental Free Trade Area. So we are proud of you. We appreciate your presence. We really take you very, very serious. Thank you so much, and God bless you and bless your family. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we also like to appreciate SMEs for their support, both financial, both technical, and others. SMEs played a prominent role, and the new DG is a wonderful guy, and I believe that we will benefit from his own wisdom and his own knowledge that he has. And also, we continue to appreciate UNIDO ITPO. UNIDO ITPO is one of the major sponsors. Another major sponsor is the ECOWAS Commission. ECOWAS Commission actually contributed largely also to this, financially, technically, morally, and etc. So please, let us clap for all those who contributed. And I also like to appreciate Alaji Nasir, Alaso Adua. Alaji Nasir was a wonderful uncle of mine that right from day one, he has shown his passion and he led a team of over 17 MSMEs from the West African state. Please give him a... So also we'd like to appreciate ITC. ITC was wonderful. They were here, and also they are going to be part of the empowerment program. And also we'd like to appreciate AU, African Union, MBTI, National Board for Technology Incubation. Although we are going to have our own technology incubation in Abuja here with Sweden and the Ministry of Industry, so that, because Abuja has no technology incubation. So under this initiative, we are setting up a technology incubation next year by the grace of God, in order to support MSMEs in different sectors, provide technological solutions to MSMEs areas of challenges. That is what the Technology Incubation Center is going to do. So thank you so much. You are wonderful. We appreciate you. Those who are from Ghana, Benin Republic, Cote d'Ivoire, Niger Republic, thank you so much. We appreciate you. God bless. And I pray that all of us will go back home safely and meet our family members in good health. And we also benefit from what you've learned during this program. Thank you so much. God bless.
Let me welcome Mr. De Wali Fasanya to please step forward. So kind of us to appreciate your gesture. Shall we please put our hands together? And of course, the very delectable Monday Awards has been so wonderful. He's going to receive on his behalf. Thank you. I would have given you the microphone, sir, but please, by the powers of the MC, let me withhold. We've heard so much today. Thank you very much. Okay then, sir.
Yes. One of the things I would like to say is that Mr. Fasanya was the immediate past DG of Sweden. When this issue of this, when we approached him, that we wanted to have this West African MSME exhibition, he was the first person that said that we are going to be part of it. We commit to be part of it. But we were in his office having a press release, and they were announcing his removal. God. He was processing their contributions for this event. And on the radio, we were in the office together with him. Yes, and some of our council members here, with UNIDO ITPO, with everybody, and they were announcing the man's removal. And yet, he was still supporting us. So please, let's give him a hand. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, my president and the other participants. We're so happy that this was given to our immediate past chief executive. I thank God for what is happening today. Though he has left the office, but he's still with us. In spirit, even physically, he's still with us. And even to our new chief executive, there's been, in fact, in some other organizations, they don't see eye to eye, outgoing and incoming. They don't see eye to eye, but ours is different. I'm testifying to that because I'm the person that is managing the transition from the outgoing to the incoming. So I know. So it's been fair, it's been seamless, and I thank God for that. That is why we're able to even continue participating in this event, because the transition was smooth, So thank you so much. I'll deliver this to my past immediate chief executive. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Someone has misplaced their identity card from ECOWAS. Please, if you see, you can kindly bring to me or any of our ushers. And then again, someone left their glasses. Okay. So if you happen to see them, you may come to me. And then finally, registration for those who are interested in the Egypt trip. Please do well to go to the registration desk and tick. If you're going to be there in person on site, tick. If you're going to join virtually, just write V by the side of your name. Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to bring us final words and to do the official vote of thanks, I'd like to welcome Dr. Kabiru Dasoki, Deputy President, as he comes to bring us vote of thanks. And afterwards, we will close with the national anthem and then go for refreshment. I welcome you.
I am here to thank everybody that participated in this very, very important summit. I must say we appreciate you all, and even though the president just made a very long speech and he has captured almost everything I had wanted to say, but I must thank you very much, and also to wish you a safe journey back to your various destinations. Having known that most people, some of you came from different countries, ECOWAS, UNIDO, and everybody that is here, I must say thank you very much, and may God take you to your various destinations in one piece. Thank you very much.
Of the West Africa SMEs Exhibition 2023 with theme All-in-One Opportunity for SMEs in Tech and Renewable across the sub-region. Ladies and gentlemen, shall we now rise for the national anthem of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Thank you very much. It's been so amazing as your host for the past 3 days. On behalf of His Excellency and President, on behalf of His Excellency, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we'd like to bid you all farewell. Thank you for coming through. My name is Philip Rena. Good night and God bless. Thank you.